Hey guys, I'm late to the Samsung Tab S9 Ultra and I really wish I wasn't. As someone who has used iPads exclusively for the last 8 years, the Samsung scratched an itch that any iPad never could. In a sense, Samsung made a gamble by creating a piece of technology that overlaps with a laptop, potentially stepping on their own Galaxy Book lineup. But the few who wanted a portable tablet that can do all the basic functions a laptop can do, this is home. First of all, it's an absolute beauty of a thing, and it deserves a moment of appreciation. And I want to make a whole unboxing, but I'll skip over that because I have so much to say about this. So let's dive right in. I love the S9 Ultra's dimensions for two reasons. First is the slightly narrower dimension, which allows me to use a tablet in vertical mode more comfortably than my iPad Pro because my hands are closer together, and typing on the screen is just generally more comfortable. Secondly, the 14.6-inch display just feels more familiar and at home as it feels like an actual laptop monitor, which I've generally stared at for over the last decade. People have complained about the vertical mode being too tall, but I disagree. The biggest benefactor outside of the obvious viewing flexibility is a larger battery life, which this big boy needs. Secondly, my eyes were able to adjust to the new real estate immediately, especially when reading articles or scrolling through YouTube comments or a Reddit post. I would only argue against the Tab S9 Ultra for people with really small hands, but it'd still be easier to operate than the iPad Pro at 12.9 inches because that's just a little bit wider. In my opinion, the main thing that makes a computer is the ability to resize windows to any size that you want, and also to be able to layer windows on top of each other. With DeX, you can do just that. It can be a bit frustrating with Samsung's touchpad on their covered keyboard, as I find it to be a bit finicky and inaccurate, but overall DeX feels much more like a laptop than my iPad ever has. I've heard some people compare it to a Chromebook, which I haven't used in ages, so I can't make a direct comparison from experience. But no Chromebook comes in a really beautiful, sexy tablet form, so this definitely takes the win in my book. Just a slight disclaimer, I do like the format of the older DeX as it feels more like a PC than the newer one that basically mimics Android a lot more. However, I have a feeling that the newer one is more optimized and less battery draining as it loads up instantly, and it's something that I should probably get used to. But the older one was just nice with its desktop format. Secondly, I would say that the majority of people aren't editing 4K footage or raw photos, but are likely browsing YouTube, watching shows, writing emails, looking up places to go on Google Maps, online shopping, all while maybe downloading a few documents here and there. So a lot of times it's more about being able to do multiple things at once than being able to do each thing individually, which is where the 14.6-inch display really comes in handy. The larger 14.6-inch display lets you do these things with multiple windows open, and even if you do split the screen, it's completely readable. Now, you can technically do these things on an iPad as well, but to do all of them at the same time is extremely frustrating, and really, you can only do one task at a time. And even if you do split the screen on the iPad, it's just too small on the 12.9-inch display. I literally can't read text on the website because it's so small. It's honestly the most compromised graphical user interface I've ever used. So the iPad Pro has become an expensive piece of glass and metal for watching YouTube or Netflix, or when I'm really just browsing the website or reading one article. So I do have a few complaints, and the first is the keyboard book cover. The magnetic attachment mechanism is weak, and I find myself often pulling off the tablet off the keyboard, and the monitor prop kickstand is frustrating and flimsy at best. You can't actually even use this as a laptop as it won't really sit on your lap. I would save your money and not get this unless you are really intending to use this on the go, let's say for work or for a classroom, or you frequently work at coffee shops where you have a table set up. This keyboard cover then makes a lot of sense. I also mentioned this briefly, but the touchpad on the keyboard book cover is frustrating at best, and it's a bit vague and not really precise. If you plan on using the S9 Ultra primarily at home on the couch like I do, I would avoid getting this keyboard book cover. Samsung, please create a robust keyboard cover like Apple's. Secondly, the issue I had actually with the iPad is the Apple Pencil and how there's no real good place to put it. And the S24 Ultra spoiled me with its seamless body integration. They could have easily done that with Tab S9 Ultra, but for some reason they decided not to. And whenever I tried to put the pencil away onto the back of the Tab S9 Ultra, I found myself having to guess exactly where to put it. I have to look, and it's just a frustrating process. It would have been really nice to have the same mechanism as they put in the S24 Ultra. Lastly, of course, there are hints that DeX is still an Android-based system. For instance, when you use Chrome, you can't install extensions, and you can't download documents directly onto the desktop. But overall, these are small nitpicks that don't really affect workflow at all because you can still use storage databases in the cloud, like a Dropbox, like Samsung's, like Google Drive, that let you have the same file management structure that you would want on a Windows computer, or any computer for that matter. Now, this next point might be a bit controversial, but I think the Tab S9 Ultra can easily replace an iPad Pro, or any iPad for that matter. The main benefits of an iPad are three things. First is premium real estate for viewing entertainment. 2 is a touch user interface. 3 is the Apple ecosystem. And out of these three benefits, compared to the Tab S9 Ultra, the only benefit is the Apple ecosystem. But even then, the benefit is diminished here in my opinion, because I'd rather reply to iMessage texts and FaceTime on my iPhone or my MacBook. One can argue that additional benefits of Apple's ecosystem, such as news or also being able to watch Apple TV, are things that you can more enjoy on the iPad. But I would say at the same time, those things are equally enjoyable on a MacBook Pro. So really the strongest benefits of having an iPad Pro is really just to be able to have the touch interface. With that said, because I don't have Apple One on my iPad, I can easily see myself replacing the Samsung Tab S9 Ultra with my iPad Pro 12.9-inch display. In conclusion, the Samsung Tab S9 Ultra did what the iPad couldn't, or what Apple decided not to do, which is to make a piece of technology that overlaps with a laptop. Every tech reviewer on YouTube made a video trying to replace their MacBook with their iPad Pro, and the message was clear. They couldn't fully switch over, which was clearly because of the limitations of iPad OS. Now, the Samsung Tab S9 Ultra isn't a perfect laptop, but it gets much further than the iPad ever has. The Samsung Tab S9 Ultra is the closest thing to what I personally wanted, which is the ability to take off your AMOLED screen from a laptop and use it like a tablet. But when I wanted the functionality of a Windows or a PC, I'd be able to attach the screen back on and have, let's say, 70 to 80% of what I need to do on a computer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.